Welcome back, Careblazer. In this week's video, I'm going to talk about an emotion, a caregiver emotion that happens a lot, but it's not talked about a lot, and that's caregiver anger. Now, I've done videos in the past about people with dementia getting angry and aggressive and irritable and how to respond to that, because that frequently happens in dementia. However, today's video is specifically focused on you. If you find yourself feeling angry, irritable, and upset with your loved one, maybe because they just made a big mess, or maybe because you feel like some of the things they're doing on purpose, just to make you upset or just to make you mad. If that sounds like you, then please stay tuned. This video can hopefully help. Now, if you're new to Careblazers TV, welcome. This is a place where we talk about everything dementia. So if you're caring for a loved one with dementia and could use a little extra help, support, information, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And before I hop into this video, I want to encourage you, if you are struggling with caregiver stress in any way, or you're feeling completely overwhelmed in your caregiving situation, make sure you check out the link in the description to this video where I'm doing a free caregiver self-care class where you can join me live, ask me questions live, and I will share ways that you can work with me further after taking the care class if you're interested. All right, now let's get started. There are so many emotions that come along with being a caregiver for a loved one with dementia. There are so many emotions that come along with being a careblazer. It's normal, it's understandable. Sometimes that emotion is anger. Now, if you watched my video a couple weeks ago about how we have to change our expectations around being a caregiver, then you know where I'm coming from here, and I'll be sure to link to that video below. But when you think about what it takes to care for somebody with dementia, about the time that you put into caring for your loved one with dementia, the sacrifices you make, the missed opportunities to hang out with friends, the fact that you're no longer doing hobbies or activities that you used to enjoy, the fact that you feel like all of your free time is spent caring for your loved one with dementia, it's not hard to understand why sometimes you might be a bit resentful or angry about your situation, and in some cases towards your loved one with dementia. Now, feeling angry towards your loved one with dementia can happen for any caregiver, but it can particularly happen for two types of caregivers. Many times it happens for caregivers who are newer to being a caregiver for dementia. Perhaps their loved one has just been diagnosed with dementia and they're still within their first year. And then it tends to happen a lot in caregivers who have been at the caregiving journey for years and years and years. Now, for the newer caregiver, perhaps taking care of a loved one with dementia that was just diagnosed, within the past year, there's so much to learn about this disease. It is hard sometimes to wrap your head around the fact that your loved one, who's been able to do so much their whole life, is now all of a sudden having a problem cooking meals, paying bills, driving a car, getting dressed, using the toilet. And because many times in the early to even the moderate stages of dementia, the person doesn't look like anything's wrong with them, it's really easy for you to forget that actually something really big is wrong with them. It just happens to be in their brain, something we can't see. When somebody has a broken arm or a broken leg, it's easy for us to have a visual reminder every time we look at that person that, they can't use that arm or they can't use that leg. But when you're looking at somebody who looks exactly as they've looked for the past several years, it's hard sometimes to remember, oh wait, but they don't have the same abilities anymore. And when this happens, because it's easy to forget that your loved one with dementia is no longer able to do some of the things that they're able to do, their brain cells are literally dying, it's easy to fall trap to the idea that your loved one is purposefully trying to drive you crazy. It's easy to believe that your loved one with dementia is doing things on purpose to make your life more difficult, to make life harder for you. And when you fall victim to that belief, it's not good. You're gonna get more angry, you're gonna get more resentful, and the caregiving journey ahead of you is going to be extremely difficult. Many times the caregivers who are most likely to feel this way, to feel like their loved one with dementia is purposely trying to drive them crazy or purposely trying to make things difficult for them, those a lot of times are relationships that have struggled in their past, relationships that have had a lot of tension or strain or arguments, or just haven't been the nicest, most supportive, or healthiest relationship. So it's easy when you have that really difficult negative history to just put that on the current situation. And that is not a good idea. I know this is easier said than done, but when you have that mentality that your loved one with dementia is purposefully doing something to make things harder for you, you are making the situation a lot harder. And I can promise you, in a lot of situations, your loved one with dementia they're not doing it on purpose. They're not trying to give you a hard time. They themselves are literally having a hard time. And if you can start replacing your thoughts that they're doing something on purpose to the thought that this disease is eating away their brain cells and they're struggling and having a hard time, it could take a tinge of resentment and anger away. It's not going to take it all away, but it can certainly help reduce it a bit. I also like to encourage caregivers who say they are 100% sure, they are 100% positive their loved one with dementia is purposefully trying to give them a hard time. No matter what, they believe this true and true to their heart. I'd like to ask you, if this sounds like you, how is that thought process helping your situation? How does that thought help you in any way? It doesn't. It makes the situation worse. So even though it might be hard for you to believe, even though you still might truly believe your loved one's trying to drive you crazy, I really encourage you to try to replace that thought and see what it does to your emotions and your overall approach with your loved one. Remember, in last week's video, I talked about the one thing that you truly have control over in your caregiving journey, and that is your thoughts. Truly, that's one of the only things we all have control over is just our thinking. And I want to ask you, are your thoughts helping you or are your thoughts hurting you? Now, if you've been on this dementia caregiving journey for a while, then chances are you might be feeling what most dementia caregivers are feeling who've been on this journey for a long time. You're probably feeling stressed out. You might even be feeling burned out. Being a caregiver for somebody with dementia can last years and years and years. And that's a really long time to put yourself on the back burner. And a lot of caregivers who put their needs on the back burner start to feel anger and resentment toward their loved one with dementia, that they have sacrificed so much for their loved one with dementia who often can't even express appreciation or thanks in return. What I really want to encourage you to do if you are in this boat is to take help wherever you can get it, good, safe help, trustworthy help, wherever you can get it, and stop turning down opportunities for help or start looking for help more actively. Help might come in the way of a friend or family member or neighbor who has offered, hey, let me know how I can help. The challenge with this is that most caregivers don't take those opportunities for help. But please know that if somebody is saying, let me know how I can help or I want to help, take them up on that offer. But you're going to have to let them know how they can help. A lot of times people just don't know what would be helpful. So you might need to let them know, it would be great if you can come sit with my mom for an hour next Tuesday while I run some errands. And by errands, I mean while you go for a walk or get your nails done or something nice for your self-care. Okay? So let people know how they can help you. Look into senior center options, adult day healthcare options, respite services, volunteer agencies that will come sit and socialize with your loved one. A lot of times caregivers are hesitant to pursue those options because they say that their loved one with dementia is resistant to them, or they won't be open to the help, or they only accept help from you. That your loved one will only accept help from you and wants nothing to do with any of the other options. Well, this is one of those hard things as a caregiver. Being a dementia caregiver and being a good caregiver means a lot of times you are making decisions for your loved one with dementia that your loved one doesn't necessarily agree with. You're making decisions for your loved one with dementia that they don't necessarily want you to make. And sometimes that decision is letting somebody come into the home and give care to your loved one with dementia while you take a break. Sometimes that decision is dropping your loved one off at an adult day healthcare center so that you can have a day to yourself. And for some of you, that decision may be to look into some placement options so your loved one can get the care and the supervision that they need if it seems like this is something that you're no longer able to do and it's taking a really negative toll on your health. So I just want you to open your mind to this possibility, because when you put yourself on the back burner year after year after year, day after day after day, and situation after situation, it's understandable why you're feeling angry and upset. So remember and try to work hard to believe that your loved one with dementia is not purposefully trying to give you a hard time. They are absolutely having a hard time. I do not know one person in this world who would choose to have dementia. I don't know anybody who would choose to get a disease that's slowly going to take away their independence, their freedom, and their ability to do very basic care tasks like get dressed, drive a car, and even use a toilet. So when those mistakes happen from your loved one, or your loved one makes a big mess, or sometimes they do something that really just gets on your nerves and drives you crazy, remember, your loved one didn't choose this disease, but this is kind of what life is right now, and you just make the best of it as you can, but do it without putting all of your needs to the side. You have to take care of yourself as well as your loved one with dementia, right? You have to take the best care of yourself to take the best care of your loved one with dementia. Self-care is not selfish, it's necessary, and when you put yourself last all the time, day in and day out, it's going to lead to anger towards your loved one, and that's going to make caregiving so much harder for you. Now, if you're interested in finding ways to take self-care to the next level, interested in finding ways, practical ways, mindset shifts, and things you can do, practical things you can do in your day-to-day life to help reduce your caregiver stress, then click the link below this video to sign up to be alerted for my self-care class that I'll be doing for free live. You can join it, and if you want to take the self-care journey a little bit further, you can learn how to work with me that way as well. Careblazer, I really do hope this video has been helpful for you. Please let me know below how you have been able to overcome significant anger in caring for your loved one with dementia. Until next week, Careblazer, keep up the good work. Bye. Now, if you're new to Careblazers TV, welcome. We do a new video. They're offering to help you. I urge you to do if you are in this